welcome back to my channel. I'm that Merry Couch Potato, and on today's episode I will be continuing with my History Musing series, and I will be talking about the city of St. Asaph in North Wales. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm a medical student by profession, and during my days off I like to make YouTube videos on things I find of interest, and I hope you do enjoy my previous episodes as well. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, as it means a lot to me so I can keep making this content. So let's begin with today's episode. So like I said, today's episode is going to be in the city of St. Asaph in North Wales. Here is a map of the UK, and the red pin that you see is where St. Asaph is situated. Now, if I was to zoom in a bit more, you'll notice that St. Asaph is quite close to the sea, the Irish Sea, in fact. So I'm just showing you the grey dotted line with my cursor on the right of the screen, and I'm following this grey dotted line as it's the border between England and Wales. I think ends kind of down here. St. Asaph is one of the first cities that you will actually encounter should you wish to take the A55 from Chester in England into North Wales. So the Welsh name for Wales is Llanelwy, spelled Llanelwy, Elwy, sorry, Llanelwy, I beg your pardon, and it just means church on the Elwy. And it's a city despite its small looking size on the map here, and it's a community that you find on the River Elwy in Denbighshire. So Denbighshire is the county that St. Asaph belongs to, and Denbighshire also includes the city of Denbigh just down here south of St. Asaph, as well as Rutland and Brill as well to the north here by the Irish Sea. Now the River Elwy that runs through St. Asaph is actually part of the River Clwyd. That's the bigger river. So if I was to zoom out a bit more, I can show you where River Clwyd comes in, and it comes in through the Irish Sea, and it goes through Rill, Rutland, and some point just before St. Asaph it actually splits into River Elwy and also continues as River Clwyd to more southern parts of Wales. So the River Clwyd, in fact, is around 35 miles in length, so 56 kilometers. And I think the River Elwy is just a bit more, I think around the same as well. I'm not quite sure, not being able to find the actual length of the river. But if you do know the actual length of the River Elwy, please let us know in the comment section. So the city itself, it's a pretty small city. So as of 2021 rather, the population was around 3,485 people. That was from the 2021 census. Back in 2011, the population was actually around 3,355. So that's been an increase of 38% between 2011 and 2021. The population density as of 2021 is around 539.7 kilometers, beg your pardon rather, and the area itself is around 6.57 kilometers squared. The red border that you see here is not the actual border of St. Asaph. I think that's most of the city center. It does actually incorporate quite a big area, so St. Asaph actually bigger than what you see here. I know for certain because I lived in North Wales for 2 years, and my school happened to be here, this primary school here, and they still had a St. Asaph sports court, but it was like I think kind of outskirts of the city. So yeah, so that's just a bit about the population density. So because of the small population size, so 3,485 residents. This makes Saint Asaph the second smallest city in Britain in terms of population and urban area. And prior to being in Denbighshire, it used to be in the historic, I think it still is in the historic county of Flintshire. So the city of Saint Asaph is actually surrounded by quite a lot of countryside. The This view is better, I think. I think it's called satellite view. I'm not sure. This view is better because as it shows a lot of the countryside areas, the green areas rather of North Wales. And it's actually situated in the Vale of Clwyd. Saint Asaph. So the Vale of Clwyd is just a tract of low-lying ground that happens to be in Denbighshire. And there's also a lot of like historical castles in Denbigh and Rhuddlan that you can see if you're ever in the area, as well as there's a lot of like coastal busy towns that are near Saint Asaph as well, like Rhyl, Presterton, and Abergele. So they're all kind of north to Saint Asaph. So Rhyl's just north here. Presterton's a bit more northeast, and Abergele is more northwest of Saint Asaph. But they are seaside towns that you can go visit any time of the year. But obviously summer's nicer. Um, so the earliest inhabitants of the Vale of Elvey have lived since the Paleolithical times, and that's the site for the Paleolithical can be found on Pont Newydd, and that was actually excavated by the University of Wales archaeological team in 1978. So there's also some Neanderthal evidence was found there as well. And some historians will think that the Roman fort of Vere may have sat on the site of the cathedral as well that I mentioned. However, the city is believed to have developed around a 6th century Celtic monastery that was founded by St. Kentigern, and is now home to the small 14th century St. Asaph Cathedral, which is right here. So the St. Asaph Cathedral, like I said, it's a 14th century cathedral. It's actually called, the full name of it is the Cathedral Church of St. Asaph and Cinderin. It is the episcopal seat of the Bishop of St. Asaph, and is now part of the Church in Wales and part of the Anglican Communion of Wales. Like mentioned, it was, built by Saint Kentigern, who also I think was the founder of Glasgow. Over time, it was rebuilt many times due to like being destroyed, damaged by King Edward I, for example, during the Second Welsh War in 1282. And then the rebellion led by Owain Glyndwr, who was the last Welsh-born nobleman to hold the Prince of Wales title. He reduced a part of the cathedral. And the present building that we see now was actually built in the reign of Henry Tudor and was greatly restored back in the 19th century. So you can go and visit the cathedral should you wish to do so. There is a choir that sing a few times a week. If you're looking to go for any other events as well, do make sure you look out on their website what kind of things they do. I mentioned that I used to study in St. Asaph, and the school I was based in was named after a local saint. And we have been to the cathedral for Christmas and Easter service, so I have some fond memories of the cathedral as well. This was many years ago, more than 10 years ago, so much has changed, I'm sure, since then. This is what the cathedral looks like from the entrance. So let me just see if I can do you a street view, because I might show you a better view um, of the cathedral. So yeah, this is what it looks like from the high street. I think it is actually one of the smallest cathedrals in Britain as well. I think that's also a draw to it. This monument here, I believe, is the monument of the Bible translators memorial. I I think I'm not quite sure what the history behind it is, but I'm pretty sure it's to do with men who were responsible for translating the Bible um, into Welsh, I think. And it's like a round monument that you can go see very closely when you're in St. Asaph. I'm just gonna take you down the street, and this street will actually is the high street for Wales. Sorry, for St. Asaph rather, in Wales. And it actually does take you kind of to the River Elbe as well. And you can see it's a pretty steep climb. However, it is actually a very nice walk should you wish to go down here. This road down here just takes you to the local parish church for St. Asaph, if you're interested in going inside as well. It's not a particularly big building to go into, but you can see inside of it. Let me see if I can show you a good place to see the river. Here we are. So at one point, if you're going down the high street, you will come across a bridge, which is what we're seeing here now, and this bridge will give you great views of the River Elbe. You can kind of go down here as well for walking. You can see the footpath, and you can't get close to the river, but just do take care when it's been raining, as it does tend to flood every so often. But when there's low water, obviously, it's pretty nice to go down there. Let me show you more of the parish church. It should be just right here. This is what the St. Asaph Parish Church looks like from the outside. Again, it's not a particularly big big a big parish church, as you can see from the inside. And I think this particular church has been around since the medieval times. I'll leave the link out for us all for the church if you want to look inside. And they do quite a few different services as well. I remember going in when again with my school, and yeah. So I think this this parish church is also found by St. Kentigern rather, as it's called the Church of St. Kentigern and St. Asa. That was a saint who was, I think, the first bishop of St. Asaph, and he's the one who gave the name to St. Asaph. It's reputed that the St. Kentigern actually found this church in 560 AD, with the dedication of St. Asa being added in the mid 12th century. So yeah, I think the location and morphology of the churchyard is supposedly typical of an early medieval foundation. So you can find out more about the history of this church online, and I will leave the link out as well for the medieval church. So for this parish church, as well as the it's just, I would say, just through here, and the cathedral, so you can have a look, you know, in your own time. Other things to do in St. Asaph is not much, to be honest. I'm gonna say, but there are quite a few shopping outlets that you can go visit if you're interested. So one such thing is the Tweedmore shopping outlet. This is a very nice, quaint shop that serves your needs to get a lot of like household items. You know, you can have afternoon tea here or eat as well, and they sell cakes. It's kind of like a clothes shop, really, but like more like a household shop than anything. They serve quite a lot of nice things, and when I last went, they've actually made a vast improvement of this. Since when I was living here in Saint Asaph. So it looks a lot nicer now. Like they definitely upgraded, and their lunch is to die for. It's so good here, the cafe. So yeah, so well worth a visit if you want to buy some clothes. They are fairly nicely priced, and good quality clothes as well. And you can, depending on what time you go, obviously you can get decorations as well for your house, should you wish to do so. So I mentioned that Saint Asaph is actually quite close to Denbigh. It's actually not a city. I think I mentioned it as a city, but it's actually a market town. And it's the Welsh name is Denbigh as well. But it's spelled Dinbich, so Denbigh, I think. And it translates to Little Fortress due to the reference to its historic castle. So I just actually wanted to show you the Denbigh Castle. Um, so Denbigh Castle, it's obviously ruined as you can see in the picture here, was actually built to control the lordship of Denbigh after the conquest of Wales by Edward I of England in 1282. The lands were actually granted to Henry de Lacy, who happened to be the Earl of Lincoln at that time, who then decided to build a new walled town, and this is actually colonized by immigrants from England. The work wasn't complete rather in 1294 when the Welsh temporarily seized the castle during the Madog ap Llywelyn revolt. However, the defences continued to be improved, and the castle wasn't actually finished by the time of Henry's death in 1311, so Henry de Lacy's death. So the castle, by that point passed on to like various owners in the first half of the 14th century, and it came under the control of the Mortimer family eventually. And the walled town actually by this point was pretty impractical to live in. So larger and newer settlements started developing outside the fortress as well. During the Glyndŵr Rising, so Owain de Glyndŵr, I think, was like the last king, like I mentioned, sorry, last proclaimed Prince of Wales. Of Wales, they ransacked the wall as well. However, the castle itself remained pretty secure. During the War of the Roses, Denbigh was actually attacked by Lancastrian forces, and the walled town was actually attacked and burnt. And afterwards, the old town was pretty much abandoned by its inhabitants. So quite a lot of history to this. During the Civil War, the English Civil War, or the first one rather, Denbigh was actually held by royalists until it was captured by parliamentarian forces in 1659. So yeah, and by this point I think the castle wasn't really quite in good condition, so what you see now is due to deterioration of the castle over time. It is actually pretty easy to get to the castle. Let's see if I can show you a street view of it. But just be careful to like where you're stepping as well, because it can be a bit uneven, especially the steps. If you decide to go. Oop, the Wi-Fi's not working again. I beg your pardon. But I will leave the link out for the castle, as also you can see, in your own time. So if you want to visit, you know what to expect in terms of payment as well as car park access as well. So it's now actually a Grade 1 listed building, and this castle is protected under UK law as a scheduled rather ancient monument. So other places to visit, obviously there's more to Denbigh than just the castle, but I felt like the castle's a big drawing point to Denby. Other places to visit if you're in the St. Asaph area as well. Bottlewood's a nice little I want to say town as well. Oh, village rather. Next near St. Asaph. This Bottlewood used to also have a castle, Bottlewood Castle that you can go visit. However, this has now been converted into a hotel. Um, as the charity that ran the castle lost money, and they unfortunately closed the castle down some years ago. But do check out the history of the castle as well. It apparently housed a ghost at one point in time. Yeah, I went when they were still when Belvedere Castle was still acting as a castle, and honestly, as a child, I think I was around 11, 12 when I went. It was very fun. So I was really sad to hear that they closed it. Other places to visit, if you're in Santander, obviously, if you're interested in going to the sea, Rhyl is a nice seaside town that you should visit. Rhyl Beach, allows you to access the beach as well, the Irish Sea, and you can fly kites, see performances. So we used to go there regularly to fly our kites with friends. And you can also go see the aquarium as well, especially if you got little kids um, in your family. Obviously, there's like other beaches as well. You can go to Prestatyn. Colvin Bay rather is another very big seaside town that's near St. Asaph as well. But nothing beats Llandudno town, as this has a pier. And I remember going on a school trip, and it's the first time I went on a pier, and it was fun. And it's when I first heard that fish and chips is a thing to get when you're on the pier. I was actually quite new to the country by that point, so I didn't know, but it was still pretty nice. And I thought, it was one of the best things I saw as a 12-year-old child, the pier. If you don't know what a pier is, it's this long, um, um, let's see if I can show you, but it's like a long, man-made, um, man-made structure that you can use to go quite into the sea to get some good views. They usually have like these arcades that you can walk around and take part in quite a lot of like fun activities with the families. And there's always like ice cream shops and eating areas as well, and quite a lot of things to do for all ages. So arcades, they look a bit like these, like the coin operated games that are usually rigged. You did not hear that from me. So yeah, these piers, they're dotted around quite a lot of like seaside areas in the UK. But Llandudno is the popular one in North Wales, or near Saint Asaph anyway. Saint Asaph used to actually have a hospital as well. Actually, it was called the H.M. Stanley Hospital. Unfortunately, that closed down a while ago, and it has now been since renovated to Form Houses complex, which is here. So this housing estate did not used to exist until I think 2017, 2018. And if you were to zoom in here, this is what the old hospital used to be. So it's called H.M. Stanley Hospital, which was initially a workhouse that used to have a lot of orphaned people, orphan children that lived here, and it was named after H.M. Stanley, Henry Morton Stanley, who was a Welsh American explorer. He, I believe, was born in this Denby area to a single mother who abandoned him at a very young age. And because his parents were not married when he was born, he was labeled as a bastard. Um, Over time, he emigrated to the US, and he, I think, got involved in the army and became a journalist. So after the American Civil War, he actually ended up going on a British expedition to Abyssinia in 1867 to 1868, and then he ended up going on quite a lot of different expeditions in and out of Africa as well. But he's most controversially known for his involvement with the slave trade, especially in establishing the Congo Free State for King Leopold II. This is something I don't really want to get into about the Congo Free State, because I don't really know much about it, but apparently it was a very how do I say, very sad state of affair. It's even I can't describe it. It was like horrific, essentially. What happened to the Congolese people by King Leopold II? It's something you can look online, but it's not a nice thing to speak about. Needs to be spoken about, but it's very very unpleasant. So his reputation was seriously damaged at H.M. Stanley's due to his involvement with the King Leopold II. So he, I think, was based in this workhouse. So the housing estate that's bought it, they've still kept, I think, part of the old buildings, and this used to be a hospital, like I mentioned. Housed, didn't have an A&E, but did have like X-ray areas as well, and like eye clinics and things like that. So you can come in for like day procedures, but not for overnight. The nearest hospital, St. Asaph, is actually is the Glenclwyd Hospital in Bodelwyddan, so a bit of a trek, but not too far. I think we can get there in 20 minutes or so. So in terms of getting the city status, so St. Asaph, as you can see from the area, is a pretty small area. And it's been historically regarded as a city due to the seat of the medieval cathedral and diocese. I think the town applied for the status, in competitions held by the British government in 2000 for the millennium, but that was unsuccessful, as well as for the Queen's Golden Jubilee in 2002. However, during the Queen's Diamond Jubilee celebrations in 2012, the town applied for city status again, and they actually was successful this time around. And formally became a city granted by letters patent in 1st of June 2012. So in Wales, despite being formerly a city, it's actually the smallest by council area as well, due to its small size age. So yeah, so that's just a bit about St. Asaph. If you're planning on coming in to visit St. Asaph by road, the A55 is your best bet from England, that is, if you're coming in from like north of England or north of yeah, like Scotland basically. You can get train links as well to St. Asaph. However, the nearest train station is actually in Rhyl, not St. Asaph. So you will then have to either get the taxi into Rhyl or perhaps rent a car as well. If you're wondering about living in St. Asaph, and if you happen to have a family, there's like one primary school, I think, and one school, but that high school is actually it only teaches in Welsh, so if you're pretty good at Welsh, then that's a good school to go to. However, there's the other high schools around the area as well, like in Denbigh, they can send your kids to as well. So just a heads up as well. And another cool thing, the original copy of the Welsh Bible is actually kept on display in St. Asaph Cathedral. So do check it out as well if you're able to do so. And that was actually the Bible that was used at the investiture of Prince Charles as Prince of Wales in 1969. That investiture, I believe, was held in Carnarvon, which is not near St. Asaph, it's all the way down here by the coast. And I do recommend visiting Carnarvon Castle if you're in the area. So that's it about my topic today on the city of St. Asaph. I hope you enjoyed it, despite it being quite a small city. But yeah, definitely worth visiting, especially even if it's just for a few, well, for a day. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your visit in St. Asaph. I'll see you guys next week.